let's go ahead and go to, oh my God. Kim, we'll go to Thunderstash. What's our first topic?
We're going to do this first?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
he's like, I wasn't quite ready. I was still making a giant list of 50 things.
Yeah, I'll pull that. I'll let you guys go first, though. Okay. Switch 2 editions. This is for our wants, hopes, desires for 2026 and beyond. And for it to be a Switch 2 edition, right? Just to be clear, I'm talking Switch 1 games that are going to get Switch 2 edition. It's going to get that Switch 2 edition label, right? And so there's already been a lot of these games. A lot have been announced in the last week or two. There's been a handful. There's been kind of a lot to keep up with, especially because these are all shadow drops. You can't really plan to cover them. You have to plan to cover them after they're announced. So it's been kind of tough. But thinking about it, I think there's going to be a lot more. I know earlier this year when we did our bingo cards going into all the Switch 2 predictions before it was even shown, we talked about this a lot. Switch 2 editions. This was on my bingo card, for instance, that we're going to get a ton of Switch 2 editions. That's been the theme. And this is a really good way to fill out the calendar. I think keep people glued to their Nintendo Switch 2 consoles. Now, as far as what we're going to get in 2026, I mean, with each new year, the sky's the limit. We can get, everything's on the table. You don't know. I mean, we only know what up to, I believe it's probably Yoshi and Mario Wonder Switch 2 edition. Outside of that, we really don't know what's coming first party. So, anything's possible when a new year comes, which is what makes all of this exciting to talk about right now here on December 17th, is because we don't know what's going to happen. So let's talk about what we'd actually like to see happen. Who would like to kick us off for this with their list? I will go last. I'll play cleanup. If you guys want, I can actually, if you want a second, I can go over some of the games that have just come out.
Oh, you mean the ones just announced?
Yeah, because there's been a lot.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm gonna step away for once. My keyboard died. I'm gonna go grab my little cable so I can look up some stuff. I'll be right back, but I'm listening.
All right. Okay, so recent ones, right? And you guys can probably fill in the gaps on a few of these for me. High on Life. That's got a Switch 2 edition that doesn't get talked about a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have Mario Wonder coming. We have Animal Crossing Switch 2 edition, January 15th. One of the games I'm reviewing which should probably be out tomorrow, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate Switch 2 edition, which came out yesterday. Divinity Original Sin 2 Switch 2 edition. Of course, that just came out. Yesterday, Batman Arkham Knight got sort of like a pseudo Switch 2 edition. It's not quite. It received a patch, though, to perform better on Nintendo Switch 2. So this is not like a red label Nintendo Switch 2 edition. You won't see it like that in the eShop. However, WB is making strides, it seems, to get this running better on Switch 2, which is good. Dispatch was just announced. Now, Dispatch hasn't come to Nintendo yet. So I don't know that I would really count this, right, as a Switch 2 edition. This is more like probably another topic with categories of games that are coming as ports, right?
Yeah, well,
but it was presented that way.
Well, Nintendo does it too, though. Switch 2 edition of Metroid Prime 4. It's just a label to... I think, in my opinion, I kind of think the way that obviously Nintendo is implying it is it's a game that's made for Switch 1. So it's a Switch 1 game that they just improved for Switch 2, whether it's day and date or, comes later down the road. So I kind of feel like that's how Nintendo's using that label.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like that makes sense to me. That's why I saw Dispatch Switch 2 edition. I'm like, well, it's not on Switch 1. So this isn't a Switch 1 to Switch 2
When
thing.
it will be.
But okay.
It will be.
Yeah, it comes out the same day.
Yeah.
Another one. So this is one that, again, for everyone in chat, I don't know if you'll remember several months ago, probably around May or June, I was saying you should buy Kingdom Come Deliverance because it's going to get a Switch 2 edition. I just know it's going to. Sure enough, it's now officially out there in the rumor mill, and I believe
was it Nash Weedle today?
Nash Weedle? Yeah.
Yep. And he said the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is coming as well. Well, didn't make my newsletter today because he posted it after I was working on it, but you guys can imagine that'll be in my news tomorrow.
And so I talked about picking up Kingdom Come Deliverance Switch 1 edition that you should because it's going to get a Switch 2 edition. And I mentioned also that I didn't buy Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 to review earlier this year because 100% expect it to come to Switch 2. And I'd rather play it there because that's the more interesting review as well, right? You know how it's going to perform on PS5. We don't know how it's going to perform on Switch 2. And that's what, of course, makes it more interesting. So both of those games they're not officially confirmed, but again, I mentioned it in May, I believe. And now Nash Weedle is actually reporting on it today. That's going to be coming. So that's exciting. So those are some of the highlights, I guess, of some of the games that have been announced recently. Of course, we got like Tomb Raider. But again, that came to Switch 1 the same day as Switch 2. So there's a lot coming.
Those parameters.
Yeah, exactly. The Rogue Prince of Persia,
definitely.
right? I just reviewed that yesterday. And same thing, right? That's a Switch 1 and Switch 2 edition. We got Skyrim. Skyrim just got the Switch 2 edition. Literally, I got to the airport and it got announced. I'm like, shit, wish I had that game card on me. That's one of those times I wish that I was digital for a game because then I could have updated it and checked it out on the plane. So there's a handful of games, right? What do we want to see in 2026 as a Switch 2 edition? Now, with the foundation laid, who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Start off by noting, guys, that I don't care that much about Switch 2 editions. I think this should be pretty well understood by my audience, but for the extended Nintenbyte family audience, I don't really replay games. So like games getting updates like higher resolution, better frame rates, which is what a lot of it is. Maybe a couple new features and tweaks here and there, mouse support. It's just that I just don't care because if I already beat the game, I'm probably not going to replay it. Now I realize on this show, I'm the weird one. I'm like the only person that doesn't replay games. So that doesn't mean though I don't think that Switch 2 there could be some neat Switch 2 editions for especially for those that replay or those looking for a first time experience. Witcher 3 Switch 2 edition. This needs to be a thing, especially if we're going to get Witcher 4. I think you really got to get Witcher 3 Switch 2 edition. Besides that, though, a lot of the Switch 2 editions are like things that like the ones that I think could use it are things that were either 30 FPS or just running really poorly. It would be nice if all of those games eventually got Switch 2 editions, but it's also like I think Nintendo and even some of these third-party companies also have to worry about the balance. Like we don't want there to be like March comes and there's 17 Switch 2 editions and no new games. Like it can get really overwhelming really fast because of how many games are actually on Switch 1. But that said, if I look at any Nintendo game that I might want a Switch 2 edition for, they kind of got most of the big ones covered. I wouldn't mind if they did a Switch 2 edition for Smash Bros. That's kind of the one because they never really released it with all the DLC.
Yeah.
So if you do a Switch 2 edition, it would be like a deluxe edition, but then it would also probably run at like 4K or something like that, which would be neat. I don't know if that makes sense. It kind of depends on when the new Smash Bros is coming, because like there's going to be a new one. If it's coming next year, even, which is possible. It sounds like the Kirby Air Riders team was a temporary, not the same, not the team from Bandai Namco entirely. Like it wasn't some dedicated team. It was a very temporary side thing that he was working on. That's what it felt like to me when he said, "Hey, the team's going to be disbanding." So, so this isn't like a primary development team. So this was a side team. Yep. So they very well could have been still like him and Bandai could have been working on Smash at the same time. Is what I'm trying to say. So because like you guys know, Sakurai doesn't do all the programming personally himself. So like very easily these games could have been developed at the same time. So that's the thing. If there's a new Smash coming next year, then I don't think we'll get a Switch 2 edition. But if it's still like 2028, I can see a Switch 2 edition of that. Besides that, though, I had thought for a moment like Nintendo would never do it, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe getting a Switch 2 edition that includes all the DLC and 4K would be awesome. They want to do that and even attempt to try to make World look worse. It is. So I don't. By the way, you can play Mario Kart 8 on your Switch too. It's not like they took that away. It's just not in 4K, and they're just not advertising it really anymore. Notice how there was no Switch 1 bundle this year officially for the holiday for it. I wonder why. It's like they want you to buy the Switch 2 Mario Kart. But yeah, so then I kind of lean towards like the third parties, and there's like so many third party games that were kind of rough. Like if we're gonna get Doom the Dark Ages, then I want Doom 2016 Switch 2 edition. Let's get that up and going, so it kind of matches with what we're gonna see from Dark Ages in terms of performance and resolution. Anything that pretty much anything that's been put out there by Bethesda. We know we got the Skyrim one, but what about all the other ones? Like Wolfenstein, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And besides that, I'm trying to think. I know there's some other games that ran really rough.
So wait, I missed part of it because I had to step away. Is this only games that already exist on Switch right now that we want an upgrade for? Or like when we say Switch Edition, is it just a Switch 2 version of a third party or first party game that already exists?
Yeah, that. I think we can go with that because Nintendo's kind of phrasing it that way, like dispatch Switch 2 edition. That's how it's being promoted. But there is no Switch 1 edition right now.
Right.
So, I think it's being used pretty loosely to probably encapsulate way more games.
How about a Hyrule Warriors Legends Deluxe Switch 2 edition? Just keep making the name longer. Another one though that had some performance issues that it would be cool to have that one topped off as well. Same with Age of Calamity, actually. Would be really nice to see consistent performance in that with a higher resolution. But yeah, I can rattle off a billion of these. I don't want to take them all. But these are just the ones that I'd be interested in seeing, but I probably wouldn't play any of them because these are all games like I already played, I already beat, I'm good. For the multiplayer games that never end, I've probably moved on to other multiplayer games at this point. I will say this, like if Splatoon 4, because of Splatoon Raiders, is going to be like 2-3 years from now, then Splatoon 3 Switch 2 edition could make a lot of sense. I'll throw that one out there. There's another Nintendo one that like it kind of just like here's the problem with the Nintendo ones for me it's like, yeah, there's what I want, but then also am I going to care about it if a new game in that franchise is coming out around the same time?
There's a Splatoon 3 Switch 2 edition.
There is? Okay.
Yeah. It got announced. Yeah, it came out like probably a month after Switch 2.
No,
when it was real hot and hectic. Yeah.
I was too busy dealing with the Mario Kart backlash at that point.
Yeah, probably. I didn't know that either. That's fine.
Totally just woo. Well, I should check my system.
Yeah.
Maybe get Splatoon 3 updated. That shows you how long it's been since I even attempted to boot up Splatoon 3. It's been a while. And someone else brought up a good one. This one I think should only happen if we're not getting a sequel. Because if we're getting a sequel, then that'll be a key feature for the sequel to advertise it. And that is Mario Maker 2. Demonic Brawler, throwing that out there. Makes a ton of sense. Mouse support for that kind of game makes so much sense. That'd be the biggest upgrade. Forget resolution, frame rate. Who cares? The mouse would make that game infinitely better for building levels. That said, again, if they are ever planning a third one or a 3D one, they might just say, we're not going to do that because we want mouse to be like this big special new introduction for a new one. But the 2 didn't sell extremely well, so that's why you could see them maybe just bringing that one back as a Switch 2 edition on the cheap, but we'll see. And the last thing I will note is no more $80 Switch 2 editions, please. That's all I want to say for that. I don't care. I know a DLC, it's Star-Crossed World. I'm cool. Well, guess what? Kirby and the Forgotten Land is not a new game. We can just sell that at 70. We can just sell that at, probably because on Switch 2 70. So you just knock it down to 70. It's not that big a deal. Nintendo, I love you. And I know you need money, right? You're desperate. You're a $100 billion company.
They're going to fold in the next 20 minutes.
Exactly. You might be trying to buy Square Enix, for Christ's sake. You got to make more money.
I saw that.
Yeah. By the way, guys, the Square Enix story, the reason we're not really talking about it tonight is because, like, if you actually read the article, which I did in my video, they're not actually for sale. But there is an investment group involved that does push for that sometimes. And it did seem, based on reading the article, there are certain investors that would like that group to push for a sale.
God, just for the love of God, keep Square away from Embracer and Tencent, please. For the
I don't
love
think
of
Embracer's
God.
buying anything anymore.
Yeah.
That all backfired for them. So I think they're done. But guys,
Oh, good. They could take all those great IPs with them too.
But if it's like a year, 2 years out, and it is for sale, well, okay, you kind of know where this conversation started, and it started with this company getting involved with investing with them. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I got. I'm good.
Okay, who would like to go next?
I got two.
Oh, go for it, Eric.
He's got 2. One of the biggest ones I want is a Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle and
that was on my mind, yeah.
Yep. Get a Switch 2 for that one. Maybe combine them.
Yeah, I didn't. So I was gonna bring that one up, and the reason I didn't is, one, I figured you might.
Yeah.
And 2, they kind of already said, Yiz Guillemot kind of said in the past that we're probably going to be doing that anyways. It's just not announced yet.
Right.
But like he said this back when he's like, oh, Nintendo was right. We should have waited to release this for Switch 2. But don't worry, we're going to continue to support it, and we'll, bring it to Switch 2. It's okay. It's not announced yet, though.
Yeah.
So.
And then the other one I could see kind of leaning towards what Nate had said, coming out before another one, Luigi's Mansion 3. Getting that out and up to Switch 2 edition before Luigi's Mansion 4 comes out, I think would be a smart idea.
Dude, they put that in 4K. It's going to look
right.
Dude, that game already looks so good. I just need it to be
4K
not blurry on my TV. I do like this TV behind me. I just need it to not be blurry on it. That's it. That's all I need.
Like that.
Yeah. So those are my 2. Those are the ones that I really want.
All right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is kind of a hard list to put together if we are looking at it in the sense of games that are already out there that we just want enhanced for Switch 2 that exist on the original platform. Just because, honestly, what I really want, and what it seems like we're going to get this gen for the first time ever, really, is day and date third-party stuff. It looks like that pattern is already starting to show itself with Resident Evil next year. So that's really, really exciting. But that being said, there are games that we do have that, and one of these, the first game actually I'm going to mention is one I was thinking about last week, because we got a little game called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and I've been playing it and enjoying it a lot. And then I've been thinking about, man, they should do a free upgrade for Dread. That way I can experience Dread, with the 120 frames or and just like all the Switch 2 glory. Just in that Metroid mood right now. And would love to see that one. Another one that comes to mind is obviously Bayonetta 3. You know, it's a fantastic game. Had some performance issues. They could easily do a 60 frames 4K version of that. Beautiful, runs smoothly on Switch 2 the way the game is meant to run. Another one, this is a Game Bird favorite, but one that did not run very well, unfortunately, on Switch when it came out, is No More Heroes 3. You guys all know I'm a big Suda 51 fan. So that's one that could really use some love from the extra horsepower behind the Switch 2. This next one's kind of a twofer. I'd like to see an enhancement, but I'd also like to see the recent game ported to Switch 2. So either or, I'll take either or. But Diablo 3 Switch 2 edition would be amazing with added mouse mode support. You know, it's an ARPG. That it's a game that's as wonderful as that game plays on PlayStation and the OG Switch. The game's meant to be played with the mouse, period. It's always going to be better with a mouse and keyboard. So I'd love to see Diablo 3 or 4 make its way. Nate, you mentioned Witcher 3. You know, I'd like to see Alan Wake 2, a Switch edition of that. It's, you know, we don't have it on the OG Switch. But again, returning to OG Switch games that I would really like to see on the console. Xenoblade Chronicles X. I've been waiting. I have the Wii U version. Played a little bit of it back in the day, and then I got carried away with something else. I got the Switch version, but I've been holding off on that Switch 2
a lot of people are
update. So I'm not touching it until it comes. And then Nate, you mentioned another one. I was thinking a lot about my favorite Hyrule Warriors, the original, the OG Hyrule Warriors, the mashup of all Zelda canon, all Zelda lore, all Zelda characters in one game. It's a full celebration of the entire series, and I would love to see that one beefed up for the Switch 2, especially coming off of Age of Imprisonment. But those are kind of the core ones. Outside of that stuff, I mean, there's tons that'll come to my mind. Doom, Monster Hunter Rise, you know, would be sick to see get some of that love and treatment. Smash Brothers, obviously, so many, but ultimately I just really want day and date for the new stuff, and it looks like that's starting to come. So I hope that pattern continues, and yeah, it's exciting. Good times.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
All right, Tiger Time, you want to go?
Well, heck yeah. So yeah, I put together a little list here. We talked about Resident Evil 7 and 8 got Switch 2 editions, right?
They are.
Yeah, they are. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're coming out the same day as Resident Evil.
That's right. They're coming in that triple pack. That's right, yeah. Well, they popped into my head, but that's going to be resolved soon here. But I kind of like the idea of using the Switch 2 editions for kind of, you know, like an advertising or a transition piece into the next game. Kind of like how Divinity 2, after that trailer from the Game Awards, just now they're doing the Switch 2 edition. I kind of like using that tactically like that. So, you know, I thought of, like, again, Luigi's mentioned 3, like Eric said, sort of, you know, not right before the next game, but kind of, you know, after the reveal trailer or something like that. Because, you know, that's the game that everyone talks about as kind of the peak of Switch beauty, basically. But seeing that in 4K, 60 FPS would be amazing. And that was like my big thing, because I remember when I played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for the first time on their Switch 2 editions, it was kind of like playing the games the way that my imagination remembered them, sort of thing. You know, sometimes when I go back to older games, it never hits like my imagination, but playing those games in the Switch 2 edition was like, whoa, this is how it was supposed to be played. I feel like this is how I played it, but I must not have. And so then you go back and check it out, and it really is a huge difference. So I just think of all these first party titles specifically, like if they did this with Arceus, I know that people kind of want that open world kind of experience that ZA didn't offer. So if they released a Switch 2 edition of, you know, of Legends Arceus, that's kind of meeting that middle ground and just making that 4K. It could just, because that game had some beauty, even though the textures weren't great. Like the night skies, there was some beautiful vistas in Arceus. So I think seeing that super enhanced would be would be money. But yeah, and then I think of Fire Emblem Three Houses. That's another game with Fortune's Weave kind of on the horizon. I think that if they did that, that would be really cool, because that's a game that, again, does still look pretty decent, but you know, it could obviously look even more beautiful. The Thousand Year Door finally getting its 60 FPS that it deserves. I don't know if that's necessary, you know, to do a whole Switch 2 edition necessarily for it, but if that's what it takes, I love that game. Maybe even for any of these two, doing kind of like a Kirby style Switch 2 edition where there's a little piece of content would be so freaking cool, especially for Thousand Year Door specifically. And then I think of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze 2 was another one that popped into my head.
Yeah.
That would be sick. Yeah, I just love that game. I know we talked about it 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was on, but that's right up there for 2 with me in terms of the Donkey Kong 2D style. So seeing that game with even better textures, just possibly getting some DLC in the wake of hopefully whatever the next 2D Donkey Kong game is, would be really cool as well. So yeah, I think Ori also popped into my head, kind of in that similar vein. Like when I heard about the Silk Song getting a Switch 2 edition eventually, Ori was the first game that popped into my head. So those games are already beautiful. So just seeing what they could do with the Switch 2 edition would be great. But yeah, I feel like those are kind of the first few that popped into my head. But again, I just love the idea of using them in tandem with either a reveal or, you know, whether it's Zelda's 40th, somehow incorporating, I mean, most Zelda games have the Switch 2 editions that you would assume did, but just kind of using it with that piece would be cool. And again, I love them because they just kind of awakened my imagination to what the game can be. So yeah, exciting.
Nice. That's a good list. I like that.
Heck yeah.
You definitely had some of the ones I had on there.
Okay.
So some of the deeper cuts, but yeah, I still have a lot, but
I'm sure. Good. Yeah.
All right. So let's see here. This is what I got. Again, Nate, you mentioned it. I've been talking about this nonstop. You guys know I have Smash Brothers Switch 2 edition. I fully expect it. I do really believe the reason why we haven't got a complete edition with all the DLC is because that's what we're getting on the Switch 2. Much like Mario Kart 8, you know, same thing. Obviously, we didn't get one with all the DLC unless you get the Japanese version, which I do have. But they didn't sell that here in the US physically. But in the same vein that we had Mario Kart 8 and then on Switch, the deluxe with all the good stuff, I think we're going to get something similar here for Smash Brothers. And whether that's to hold over the Smash Brothers community or not, or if that's the actual game plan to roll with this game this generation, because hey, we're building Smash Brothers from scratch again. We're fully rebooting it. So this gen, you're getting this one, and we're going to add more stuff to it, just like we did with Mario Kart 8. I think that's a good proposition there, especially if they fix the net code. I think that'd make a lot of people happy. Pikmin 1 through 4. Look, Pikmin was on GameCube, the Wii, and Switch. Why would it not be on Switch 2? And I'm talking about not the IP, but the Pikmin games were on all consoles. There was a edition on the Wii. There was an edition on the Switch. I fully expect the Switch 2 to have 1 through 1, 2, 3, and 4 Switch 2 editions with the mouse Joy-Con mode. Just makes sense. It's just a matter of when they want to slot it into the calendar. That's all it comes down to for me. The Witcher Switch 2 edition, yes, again, this is a game that I said to pick up. When it goes on sale, buy it, because there will be a Switch 2 edition. I have more reason to think this too, that I'm even allowed to say. But I will say you should buy that. Again, Fallout 4, that was on my list since before the Switch came out, and sure enough, we're getting it now. So again, Switch 2 edition of that's going to be exciting. Elden Ring, of course. And again, some more recent footage came out of Elden Ring. It's just crazy. Like when we played this at PAX, this is a in development version. Made it crystal clear that it's in development, right? And all of these major outlets go with the full-on sensationalism that this game is horrible and it's this and that. It's like, bro, this is in development. It's going to be better. And sure enough, footage came out, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago of an updated build, and it's looking great. And it's not out yet, which means they're still working on it. It's only going to get better. Metaphor ReFantazio, I do expect a Switch 2 edition. Again, it's not on Switch 1, but, you know, under the framing that they're using, I do expect Switch 2 edition of that.
That's a great call.
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect home. I actually mentioned this in my review of Metaphor about, I think, a year ago, that I fully expected to come to Switch 2. And again, before we even saw Switch 2. It's just once you play, it's easy to see that this game would do numbers in the Nintendo community.
Being able to play that mobile would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be huge.
Yeah.
Again, you mentioned Hollow Knight. Also, you know, that's coming out. What was it? Q1? Forget if they dated it or not, but that's going to be really exciting. Games like that.
We'll see if that. But yeah, I think it was either 1 or 3 for some reason. I can't remember. But no, it was, I think it was 1.
That's exciting, right? Because it's games like that. It's games like Ori, like you said too. That was on my list. That they could really benefit from a FPF boost, and you could probably get it running in 4K because it's not a demanding game. But because it was on Switch 1, it just wasn't able to hit those technical markers. But on Switch 2, they could do it easy, which leads me to another one. I expect Hades 1 to get a Switch 2 edition. I think that's perfect candidate. You got Hades 2 running at 120 frames, 1080, or you can do 4K 60. Surely you can go back and fix up, give a little patch to Hades 1. I bet you get a big sales boost from that. The Doom games as well. Nate, you mentioned those. Wolfenstein, yes, and yes. One thing I could really see, I could see Night Dive Studios releasing their entire Switch 1 lineup of games as Switch 2 editions. So the Turok games, Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster, Quake, Heretic, Hexen, System Shock 2, Killing Time Resurrected, The Thing Remastered, Rise of the Triad, etc. I see those coming over. Moving into, the cloud stuff, right? I still expect Kingdom Hearts to get actual Switch 2 editions, not cloud editions, games that we can actually buy. Again, said this for decades, literally decades, just not on YouTube. The Kingdom Hearts would do numbers on Nintendo. I never understood why, outside of the fact that, there's an exclusivity deal probably in place. The Assassin's Creed games, there's a handful on Switch 1. I think those could all be patched up for Switch 2 editions. On top of that, I do expect Origins and was it Valhalla and what is the other one?
Odyssey is the other one.
Odyssey. I platinumed that game.
That was a good one.
Game's so good. Yeah. So good. And just seeing what they've been able to do with AC Shadows, which I believe it got another patch today. And that's going to, fix a little bit of the performance, even though it's already good. But seeing what they've done with a next-gen Assassin's Creed game on Switch 2, I think there's good reason to believe that we would have performance options for the PS4 games on Switch 2. Like the Origins and the Valhalla and the Odyssey. Again, still fully expect Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. I expect Prime 1 to, get the... I think 1 through 3 get the 4K 60, 1080, 120 Switch 2 Joy-Con controls. It's just a matter of when. It's not if for me. The Ninja Gaiden trilogy. Again, these games would really benefit from the Switch 2 hardware to get them up to 60. You really need that too with Ninja Gaiden. Here's one. So I just reviewed this game, Octopath Traveler 0. And I had to boot up Octopath Traveler 1 again to grab my save. Because if you have save data from 1 or 2 and it's recognized on Octo 0, you get some extra stuff, right? And as I booted up, like just having 0 in for like 10 minutes, then being like, oh shoot, I need to grab my save from the cloud. Let me go back to Octo 1 and grab that. Seeing that and then seeing 0. So playing Octo Path Traveler 1 on Switch 2 versus 0 is like night and day. As far as fidelity and performance. It's like, man, these games could really use 60 FPS. Get them running the same as Octo 0. And again, you're going to sell way more units of this game. So why not do this? And I think they are. I think they will. I think it's part of the agenda. Let's say that. Xenoblade, again, all of them. So I don't see why we wouldn't get all of them running better. Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2, especially with 3 coming, they're already performing better on Switch 2 without a patch, which means it's almost there. All you got to do is put a small team on there to get it patched up, and then you get to slap on that Switch 2 edition red label, and it'll automatically boost sales. And then you could even sell all 3 of them as a bundle in the eShop. Easy money. Here's one that we're pretty sure is coming, guys. That's the Lego games. Because remember, they were shown. I think they were shown in Germany at one of the game shows. It's like the Skywalker trilogy, the Marvel superheroes. They were all there being advertised as Switch 2 edition. So I don't see why we wouldn't get that. And again, I actually bought all of these digitally when they went on sale, because when the Switch 2 edition comes out, they're going to be asking for some more money. So get them when they go on sale. I think I got them for like $5 each, which is, absolute steal. And like the Marvel game too. Again, Marvel, I was looking at their slate of TV and film stuff for 2026. They got a lot cooking. And being able to advertise a Lego Marvel game on Switch 2 as if it's new to coincide with some of their film and TV announcements is easy money. You're already marketing Marvel stuff. You can market it alongside it, which is why I think the new Marvel fighting game, right, will get more DLC. Let's see, the Ease games.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, dude.
That's a great pick.
They do numbers on Nintendo. They do a really good job on Nintendo. Yeah, so Switch 2 edition right there.
All right, there should be a Switch 2 edition of every RPG.
Pretty much, because yeah, dude, like the Switch is home to so many RPG players. RPG, JRPG, we don't care. We love RPGs over here. Like Dragon Quest 11. Like Dragon Quest 11S it's in my top 5 RPGs of all time. The best version is on Switch. The S stands for Switch. The S version was a Switch exclusive. It was so good that it then got ported to PlayStation 4 and Xbox. So the perfect home to get the Ultimate Edition of it is obviously Switch 2. And there's still more people that need to experience that game. Disco Elysium.
Yep.
Slap on some mouse Joy-Con controls, up that resolution and FPS. It's one of those games that I think is pretty close to probably being there. It just needs a dedicated patch.
I'm a bit disappointed that it's 50-50. I think it's awesome that we got a Switch 2 update for Divinity 2 Original
Yeah.
Sin. Very disappointing that it doesn't include mouse mode though.
Yeah, they need to add that. I hope they are
That-
working on that.
Yeah.
I hope
Or
so too,
listening to
because
the
that's
feedback.
those kind of games are always going to be better on a PC. They're just at the core of
Totally.
their design. They're meant to be played with a mouse. A lot of menus to navigate. I hope that's something that they change, and on top of that, keep those kind of games coming.
Yeah.
I saw Wink Demand just had a comment there about Super Mario RPG Switch 2 edition. I do have on my list Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario, The Origami King, and of course Thousand Year Door, because it's in the code. It's coming. I'd bet the house on it. It's coming. It's just a matter of when. Where does Nintendo need to strategically slot this into the calendar? And I am under the impression that Nintendo is very agile when it comes to this, in that they don't need to say today internally when we're going to release this. They'll look at the calendar to see when there are dry spells that coincide with third parties. And when there is, Switch 2 edition. And they'll continue to do that. They're ready. Like, I really believe a bulk of these games are already ready. It's just a matter of when. And we know Nintendo does this already. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Switch 2 edition. Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably up the resolution to 4K.
4K.
I don't know what it is on PS4, PS5. I'd have to double check that. But I think that's all you could do. But hey, why not?
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen Switch 2 edition. I think Dogma 2 is going to come to Switch 2 because obviously Dogma 1 came and that was a tough one to get. And it runs at 30 frames on PlayStation 5. Okay. So I think bringing it over to Switch 2, it's expected to run at 30 frames where it's already currently running at that. So I think that would be more than acceptable for a lot of people. Unicorn Overlord Switch 2 edition. Again, locking that frame rate. It was very close to 60. They aimed for it. Didn't always hit it, but mouse Joy-Con mode, up the resolution, easy.
We're not. We're also not talking about it much. We keep talking about 60 FPS, dude. Switch 2 does 120.
Yeah, some of these 120 I mentioned.
I think Unicorn Overlord should be like 120. I think they can pull that off. Switch 2.
You'd think so.
Some of the I hope a lot of these would be just a free patch, like a Switch 2 patch.
Oh.
But some of the games, like when they do titles like some of these, like, I don't want to say lesser titles because a game like Unicorn Overlord to me is one of the best releases of its time. Phenomenal game. And I know a lot of us sing praises for some of these smaller titles, not necessarily indie, but like the HD 2D, really, really cool games. But I'd love to see a lot of these do free updates or do how some of the games they just charge like $1.99.
I love that.
And then you get like the Switch 2 update. Like Fantasy Life did that.
Yeah. Turtles just did it. Splintered Fate. That was one of the reviews I was just recording. $249 to get the Switch 2 edition, and it's just say it's worth it. I don't want to give away.
Silk Song will be free.
Yeah,
they're saying that Silk Songs will be free. So yeah, there's a precedent out there for it.
Borderlands 1 through 4. Obviously, we're waiting for 4. I think after 4 comes out, they can retroactively probably use that development team that just got to know the Switch 2 very well. Say, hey, let's get these fixed. Maybe we start with 3 first, since we haven't been able to put that on the eShop because of the lighting issues. Because, if your game's not selling, you're losing money if you can't have it on the eShop. Tony Hawk 1 and 2. Again, we got 3 and 4. 1 and 2, easy money. You guys mentioned Resident Evil. Yes. Revelations 1 and 2 is already running better by default. It's running at 60 without a patch. So how much work would you have to do to just up the resolution now with a dedicated patch? And then again, you get to slap on that Switch 2 edition label. You get a special section on the eShop for it, where you can actually go to all the Switch 2 editions. And that's an easy way to boost your sales. Point and click games, Grim Fandango, Thimbleweed Park, right? I really want to see Maniac Mansion come to Switch 2, Day of the Tentacle. It's on PS4. It's on Xbox. I love that game. That would look great on Switch 2 in 4K. No problem. A couple more. What Remains of Edith Finch. I think that's a great candidate for it. Dying Light, Switch 2 edition. That was one of those kind of impossible ports. BioShock 1 through 3. Great games. Get those going. You mentioned Legends Arceus, yes. The Bayonetta games, yes. Here's one we didn't mention, Astral Chain. Especially if we all think Astral Chain 2 is coming, which I do. Get that there. And then again, I mentioned all this stuff with the Marvel, everything on the Marvel slate for 2026. Great time. And Nintendo published this. The great time to bring out Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, the Black Order, again, as a Switch 2 edition, 60 FPS, up that resolution to maybe 1440p, 4K if you can. But with all the Marvel stuff going on in 2026, like you got to do that. You got to take advantage of the marketing that already exists. Right? Like Cosmic Invasion, I reviewed on Switch 2. Awesome game. There's 15 characters on the roster. That's not a lot for Marvel. We all know that. There's so many Marvel characters. But again, there's a reason why. And that's because you can release DLC to coincide with something else you're marketing. Like, what is it? Avengers Doomsday? That's coming out in 2026. You make sure your DLC is ready, which I'm presuming it already is, but it will be ready. Again, I'd put money on that Avengers Doomsday, there will be DLC in or around that time frame for that game as well. So you kind of got to look at that stuff. Like I mentioned earlier this year about Fallout 4. What I had said was season 2. Coming out, right? We just watched the first episode, I think yesterday, the day before. But I mentioned that Fallout 4 Switch 2 edition, that's why I think it's going to come out, to coincide with the new season. And of course, that's what we're going to get. So you got to look at what's going on in other places, right? Like expect Lego Marvel to get that. Expect the other Marvel games. Anything that coincides where marketing dollars are already spent and you can capitalize on marketing dollars that you didn't have to spend in order to like increase your game sales. Just like with Mario, the Mario movie, same thing. Mario plus Rabbids, Ubisoft doesn't have to spend money to market the movie, but they can benefit from the movie's marketing and sell more copies without spending any money on marketing. That's how you do it, right? That's the list, guys. And obviously I could have kept going, but
I did think of one more real quick. Not that I necessarily want it, but Starlink Battle for Atlas. I think that could, if they updated the frame rates and stuff and, updated that one because of the Star Fox, DLC for Nintendo. I think that could have a small revival. They gave it a Switch 2.
That's a good call. I like that. Let me give one shout out to HMon661. He said Portal Collection, Switch 2 edition.
That'd be cool.
That would be good. That'd be good with the mouse.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of the mouse that's in my head, like CRPGs. It would be good. Like mouse controls have a ton of potential.
Well, some of the games that I just am working on the review that are going to be out in the next day or two, I was using mouse Joy-Con mode on these games.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I'm just like, dude, I love my Pro controller. Who doesn't? It's an amazing controller. But the the type of precision you can get with the mouse Joy-Con when it comes to aiming, it's unparalleled, which again is why PC players always have had an advantage, right? And shooters because of that. So, yeah, I think there's a lot. Obviously, The Sims is something we talked about last year again. This time last year, actually like November, when I bought the Sims game for Michaela, the My Sims. And fully expect that to come to Switch 2, the actual The Sims 4. Because have you guys seen how much DLC they have? Or how much things you can buy?
Yeah, it's endless.
Dude, someone put out a post and it was about how much money you'd have to spend to buy all the extra stuff. We need to look this up. It is insane.
For what game?
For The Sims 4.
Oh, dude.
I have a feeling it was 6 figures, like over 100,000.
I remember even back in the day, like Sims 2 or 1 on CD, they even had a ton of CD expansion packs, like Halloween party, Christmas, pets, and there's so many.
What do they call it? Packs, hits. They have all these different names for it.
Packs, I feel like.
As of 9 months ago, it was $1,929.10.
1,920.
Phone, everything. But that is because they took a lot of the individual purchases and they put them into packs. That makes it cheaper to get them.
Okay, so
but if you bought it on the individual level, there's much more, obviously.
Right. So EA, who is now working with Saudi Arabia, right? Do we not think that they want this game to continue making more money, like on a platform that you didn't release on? So it's not like a PS4 to a PS5 edition, which I think is also going to happen alongside this release. This is, hey, dude, you haven't sold yet to Nintendo gamers. Did you know that they had the largest install base of any console with the Nintendo Switch? That means you lost out on the biggest piece of pie. You know they're going to be like, dude, get that game over there immediately. Evergreen it as much as you can. And people will spend the money. We got a comment from Joe Taku.
That's a great call.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. Hopefully Hat in Time gets an update.
Really cool game.
It crashes on Switch too. I did see that.
Really?
Thankfully, the devs said they are aware and are waiting for kits.
They're a cool little team. Like
glad they're ready.
Yeah,
there's so many games like that, though, right? That could really benefit from the Switch too. What's the other game? Was it by the Sega team? Sega's old team, the one that did Sonic, not Origins, but the other one, Penny's Big Breakaway. That could really benefit from like a Switch 2 edition. It's games like that. Demonic Brawler with the $5 super chat said, you know what's all BS aside? How about all Switch cloud only version games get a free native Switch 2 edition? Come on, Nintendo, what are you doing? And bro, I love that idea because
Kingdom Hearts. Oh my god.
Right. The cloud experience is not a good experience. So if you spent that money, I think if you own it already on the cloud, to give it to those folks for free. Everyone else, yeah, they pay whatever price you come up with, but to give it to them free for enduring it, I think that would be a really, really good call. And Wink Demand 07, I would love to see a Mario Maker 2 Deluxe with more themes. That would be great, but it would be even better if we got a 3D Mario Maker instead. Dude, heck yeah. I mean, I would love to play people's Super Mario 64 creations, whatever they come up with, because I love that game. Super Mario Maker 2, Switch 2 edition, add mouse support already from Demonic Brawler, $2 super chat. Thank you. And Demonic Brawler with another $2 super chat. Kingdom Hearts Trilogy Collection, Switch 2 edition. Dude, totally. And you could come out with a really nice physical collection for it. And look, if it's key card, it's key card, right? I don't think that's going to slow down sales for Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. You know, I really don't. Do we all want it physical? Yeah, of course. But we need actual editions for it. Demonic Brawler, another $2 super chat. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, Switch 2 edition.
Jesus.
Wow. Love it.
Edition.
Dude,
we know it's coming. It was in the code.
Edition.
It was in the code, right?
Yeah.
We know it. That Paper Mario, one of the Ease games had it as well. So we know these things are coming. It's just a matter of, hey, when is the best time to strike? Because we don't have to release games on top of each other. That won't benefit anyone. I think Nintendo and third parties are working together on that. The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD bundle Switch 2 edition from Demonic Brawler, $5 super chat.
Also, this implies they would also release it on Switch 1, of course, because it can't be a Switch 2 edition if it's not.
That's true. The long rumored Wind Waker Twilight Princess bundle. Have you guys given up hope on that? I haven't, but have you?
I have not. No.
There's a
I don't know.
still flickering.
You guys know I've been weird on this one because I mean I've said it 100 times. I think even Nate and I argued about it on one episode. Just that it'll be an inferior version not having the dual screen. So how do they like? How do you? I mean, I guess they'd have to bundle them together. Maybe that's the selling point. You get both of them for the price of one.
What if they allowed you to use your cell phones?
The selling point is literally the selling point is you can't play the HD versions unless you owned one of 13.5 million consoles. Most people cannot play these games in HD. Period.
Yeah.
On official hardware. That's the selling. It's the same selling point. There's just now a bigger audience.
Same as Metroid would be.
Right, but you could play Wind Waker
in
in high definition right now on Switch 2 or Switch 1 if you have it, or Switch 2 if you have NSO.
Yeah, but that's not the same. You know, Wind Waker HD on Wii U, it's not the same.
You don't think they dropped Twilight Princess on NSO on the GameCube?
They could. It still won't be the same. Yeah,
I'm not saying it'll be the same.
These games are enhanced. They've been enhanced. You know, it's not just the dual screen inventory management stuff. Forget about that. The games originally didn't have that. It's really the visuals. The visuals were enhanced. It wasn't just HDing old GameCube textures. It was like new textures, new lighting systems, you know? So,
I mean, I'm not saying it's not coming. I've just been kind of like on the fence with it because of some of the core features missing. I understand what you're saying, Prime. I've just been kind of on the fence with it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because here's my thing.
Bundle present it in a way that's
like we talk about like the NSO stuff, but like that's not widescreen true 1080p. That's not, you know, the rock solid 60 FPS. But plus the NSO GameCube has a little bit of latency problems.
Sure.
Like bringing these games back natively, because I'm not completely out on it. I do think it's actually going to be a while before they do it. At this point, but I think it's just like they never got a fair shake the first time around. They brought them back because unfortunately the console they came on bombed. So, you know, bringing them back again, it really is just the same selling point, except I don't know. We're on Switch 2 now. Put them in 4K.
I wonder if they redid the UI on the Switch 2 on a Switch 2 version. If they redid the UI,
they make it the same as Breath of the Wild UI.
Well, no, please God, no. I was gonna say, like, you know how Skyward Sword has like the radial menu where you could just pull up the radial and
The Twilight Princess
select-
have that too.
Does Twilight Princess? It's been so long.
I'm pretty sure.
It probably does.
I'll double check. I'm pretty sure it does. I know Wind Waker didn't, but
No.
I'm trying to remember the GameCube and Wii version. I'm just looking right now. It's gotta be like a screenshot of it. Pretty easy to find. Yeah. It definitely. Okay, good. I'm not an idiot. I remembered something correctly about Zelda. My God, I'm like, I swore selecting your items, and that's exactly what it is. Selecting all your different items is the radio thing.
Wind Waker's 25th anniversary is in 2027.
That's insane. That's disturbing.
That
I
is
know.
wild.
I just
Time go.
double checked. I'm like, holy crap! And of course,
Holy
Zelda.
hell, dude.
The Zelda movie comes out that year.
That feels like yesterday.
I feel like they'd be split if they
Oh my
release.
God.
I don't think they do a bundle. I guess so. Maybe I don't have faith in that. But I think they'd be
also
split.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you
Like
bundle
Metroid
it?
Prime Remastered. Yeah.
They're not. It's not Galaxy 1 and 2. It's not the game and its sequel. These are two totally different Zelda games, different art style. Everything's different.
That's why the
dude.
bundle looks so appealing.
For sure.
Dude, I've seen the fan made box arts.
It'd be
It
a
looks
sick-
so- they
it'd be
look
sick
I
so
box
good
art.
because-
They're so
'cause
good.
they like contrast like really well. I mean, dude, this is actually kind of sick.
It'd be cool. It would look awesome.
Like, it doesn't really make any sense. It makes more sense to like, hey, if you're gonna do Wind Waker, why don't you bring Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks as well and do a 3-pack bundle there? But
Well, they should get a link between worlds for sure. You got to get that off only 3DS. That game's brilliant, dude. So
Yeah,
good.
it's so good.
That's the only Zelda I've missed because I didn't have a 3DS.
It ranked pretty damn high,
man.
didn't it? On IGN's
It was high.
top 100. Wasn't it like very high? And I think a lot of people who hadn't played it were like, "Oh shoot, like it's that good." And it's like, yeah,
It's so good.
that good. It's
And like
so good.
the overworld theme has like acoustic guitar in it. It's rad. Like I remember like acoustic guitar kicks in and stuff. I'm like, holy shit! They're
My cousin
cooking
had it.
with this music.
Yeah. It
The
looked
story's
so
good
cool.
too.
yeah,
The story's
Just
fun in
talk-
that one.
has given up on the Zelda bundle. He thinks it's just too good to be true. Unless they charge 70 or 80, which is exactly what they would
They
charge.
would
Well,
definitely
sure,
do that.
sure. I mean,
Like-
then you're asking either $34.99 or $39.99. I if it's bundled, I could see them charging exactly
Yeah.
what they did for Galaxy 1 and 2, $70, or you buy them individually for 40 each. But that's about IP preservation.
There it is.
It's just Demonic Brawler.
You
man.
read that one.
Demonic Brawler says Nintendo Prime. You still forgot the ending of Ocarina of Time. I know. That's why I was giving myself credit for remembering something correctly. Stop it. I'm supposed to be a Zelda expert. But not to 712. Still holding on to my Z card. So